statistically, 90% of people in crypto will lose money. Let that sink in. Most people you listen to, friends, family, influencers, that tell you this, tell you that, ultimately, they're going to get you wrecked. And if not that, you'll get yourself wrecked. Because it's very easy as someone who can see with their own eyes a little amount of money turn into generational wealth. It's hard to sell. It's hard for us who aren't brought up in wealthy families or, wealth around us to know when to sell. It's very strange seeing the big figures in the account. So I thought this was a very important video and a timely one at that, to give you all some perspective and outlook on this cycle. And this is important because in the next coming days, weeks, or months, we're going to have that first massive leg up in the crypto cycle, which means our coins will 2, 5, 10, maybe even 100x some of those micro caps. And if you aren't prepared, based on what I'm going to tell you today, it's only going to take 10 minutes out of your life, okay? Not long at all. Hopefully, it's going to help some of you be more prepared, alrighty? Because again, we have to accustom ourselves to big gains here, but more importantly, we have to make sure that we are looking at this as not an immediate one and done thing. I think a lot of people in crypto, what we tend to think is we have to make millions, billions, trillions this cycle. We have that pressure on ourselves, okay? We have dependents, groups of people or, small family that rely on us to make something happen out of the cycle. That's probably the worst situation you could possibly be in, especially if you are someone trying to bet on 100x altcoins or 50x altcoins. Anything above a 30x, particularly at this point in time right now, is very dangerous to do. And so I want to give you an alternative look on this to hopefully give you less stress, to hopefully allow you to make more money and let the rest settle. Alrighty. So first of all, I want to say it doesn't matter how much money you're starting with, 10,000, 100,000, or $1 million, right? I've got a 10x here. Really, it can be anything less than a 30x, I think, is important to focus on for this cycle. Yes, you can have altcoins to speculate on, play around with, right? Some of those low cap degen plays, they're fun too. But I think mostly we shouldn't really look for anything more than a 30x. Hear me out here, okay? First thing I want to show you here is this blue line, which is the smooth moving average of the last 4 years of the global markets trend, okay? So this allows us to have a pretty good idea of the general direction the market's moving. Every time price goes beneath or touches this level, it provides a fantastic buying opportunity. Why is this important to know? Well, of course, right now, we are well and truly above that blue line. We're well exceeded it, okay? So if you're especially buying in right now, it is not an optimal time to be buying a lot of these altcoins. Some are okay, but hear me out, okay? If you bought altcoins back when we went beneath or on this line anytime in the last 15, 18 or so months, okay? For example, H-bar down here at 4.6 cents, ICP 350, over here channeling 550, NIA 150, Render at 43 cents, Solana at $12. Even more recently in October, again, touch the blue line. You can see these prices were the same, if not slightly better, alrighty? And now, if you did buy between those 2 points on average, you'd be up 2x, 4x, 3x, 5x, 10x, and 10x. You'd be up a lot. Okay, so you can look at this point for more than 30x per altcoin in this particular bull run. But again, we all haven't bought our altcoins around those two great prices, okay? Just remember that. So what I'm sort of saying here is, if you're someone new to crypto especially, and you've averaged in quite high, okay? If you have the pressure of looking for a high 20 or 30 or 40x for your coins, that is almost impossible to find without you adding extreme amounts of risk. I'm talking almost betting that the entire portfolio goes to zero. Not only that, you also run the risk of you, okay, at your own fault. It's human fault. It's human desire, okay? Seeing those massive 6, 7, maybe even 8 figures for some of you guys in the bank and not selling. This sounds so ridiculous. I won't sell when I have 8 figures? Come on now, Kyron. That's crazy talk. Well, anyone who's been through a bull run before will tell you the same story. The first bull run where they made all of their mistakes, that happened to them. Again, 90% of people in crypto will lose money. So what I'm sort of saying is, we're not trying to set that bar so high that we have extreme expectations of ourselves, adding extra stress. And also, we're not relying on the fact that we are capable of seeing huge amounts of money and wanting to sell, okay? Because we naturally do not want to, okay? So again, we have the ability in the next cycle, and here's a key important point here, to buy when we have these downturns, and we fall or touch under this smooth moving average 4-year cycle line, okay? You also do want to buy, of course, once price settles, not on the way down. Never catch a falling knife. So here's what I really wanted to get across on this video, okay? This is the general outlook here. here's what I want to stress to all of you. I was on a recent call actually with a subscriber. I mentioned this in a video a few days ago, and he said, look, I really appreciate the multi-cycle compounding plan. And this is it, okay? Because a lot of people don't have a multi-year outlook on crypto. A lot of the people that are in the space don't have the time for that. They do have the time, but they don't want to give themselves the time for it. They want the money now, okay? And that's set in stone. But for those of us who just want to make the money, who have 5 years to still spare, then this is for you. If you want to go out there and bet on 100x altcoins, 50x altcoins, that's fine. But just know the odds are not in your favor. You're almost as pretty much good as going to the local casino and betting it all on black. That's pretty much what it's like at this point. So what I would suggest trying to understand here for a second, okay, is if we are right now in the current cycle, back over here at the current previous all-time high, we're consolidating again, we're about to have a massive move up. There's going to be some massive down days, weeks, months, but nevertheless, we are going to be moving up quite substantially here. If you just train yourself to look for a 10x, a mere 1,000%, I know it's not a lot, but some of you are looking for a 5x. I think generally speaking, 10 to 15x probably will put most of us in a pretty good spot in life. Even if you're turning $1,000 into $15,000, it's still likely good depending on where you started, okay? Buying back in the next bear market, again, once we've fallen beneath this particular blue line, again, it happened in the previous cycles, it'll happen again in this upcoming bear market. And then selling at a 30x or more in the upcoming next bull run, okay? So the 2029-ish bull run. I think, again, we're going to have a bull run at that point in time, and you buying so low in the next bear market will allow you to 10x even right now. Again, like I said before, if you had followed the same plan from the last cycle, you'd be up 10x right now on most of these coins, if not at least 4x, and you'd be gearing up to at least look at a 30x for some of these coins. I know at my sell prices right now, had I listened to what I'm saying and got in at these prices, I would be pretty much averaging about a 40x per coin. Let that sink in, a 40x. So when you're thinking about this, right, making $10,000 into $100,000, buying back here and then selling at a 30, 40, 50x in the next bull market, that's when you can really unlock huge gains whilst completely minimizing the most important thing people overlook in crypto. And that's this, it's risk. People tend to overlook it because they accept that crypto is just a Wild West and it is what it is. Now, in this interim, this line over here, when you're kind of buying and waiting 2, 3, maybe years until you actually decide to sell, if you unlock staking as well, and I get it, you might roll your eyes when you hear the word staking, you can unlock huge gains, okay? And this is what I would seriously get you to think about. I'd never recommend it because, of course, that's up to you to decide to do, but think about it like this. If you buy back in the next bear market, once you've made a simple, nice, again, nice in traditional finance, 10x sounds kind of crazy, or a 15x rather than your massive 50x, think about it like this. You buy 1,000 tokens, you stake at 20 or 30% APY, which is definitely possible because APY increases in a bear market because there's less people to diversify the rewards to because everyone leaves. And then in 2029, you would have, in both cases, okay, 20% APY, you'd have 70% gains just by pure passive income, and you'd double your rewards if you were looking at 30% APY. Now, what this actually looks like when you plot it out is if you follow the principle of having $10,000 today, you 10x into 2025, you only reinvest a third of that, a little bit less than a third of that back in the next bear market, so $30,000, and you stake, you can make more than $2 million in 2030, alrighty? What would you rather do? Do that, much safer, much more realistic, stabilized plan over from now, 2024 to 2029, about 5 years, or would you rather try to get to $2 million now by hitting a 200x? Or let's just assume even 100x, right? Trying to get to $1 million. Or hell, maybe even a 50x, getting to 500,000. Now, some of you might be thinking to yourself, well, Kyron, what happens if I just get a 50x this cycle? Then I'll have more money to reinvest into the next bear market. That's true. Again, we're adding one important thing here, which is risk. We're trying to avoid that. So again, in the same circumstance, right, you're selling with $100,000 in this cycle. You can look for a 10x. $1 million is no joke, okay? Reinvest $250K or $300K, again, a third or a fourth, whatever it may be, and then you stake, you can walk out with $20 million, guys. I mean, the math here is insane, you know? Some of us with more money will make a lot more money. It's the same principle. 5 years. Can you think about starting a business in the real world with $100,000 and saying to yourself, in 5 years, I can be a multi-millionaire. Actually, a multi-millionaire. No, and you can't really do that, okay? So if we just optimize a couple very important and simple things here, we can really change our lives. It's just, again, people don't like to hear this because people are set in their ways. Listen to these influencers, and these influencers trick them into making them feel like this is it. This is the last single cycle. Now, I will finalize here by saying, again, it's very important we can do two things. Once we decide to stake, okay, staking is a very important part of this plan. Not necessary. Again, you can still 100x over 5 years or 200x over 5 years, depending on how much you reinvest. And then you can, of course, walk out with a lot of money, okay? So if you 10x this cycle, 30 or 40x next cycle, well, actually, you're like pretty much 400xing at that point, okay? However, we can do two things. In the next cycle, once we accumulate more tokens, right? So if we stake for 40% APY and we stake over a few years, again, 1,000 tokens, for example, even staking for 1 year could turn into 1,400 tokens. Well, what we can say is, alrighty, well, we're just trying to achieve our goal of, say, $20 million or whatever that target is. We can actually reduce the sell levels in terms of prices per altcoin to be much more realistic and safer while still achieving our revenue goal, okay? Some people have revenue goals in mind. You might want to set one right now for the next 5 years. That might put things into perspective for you rather than just, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it, right? That way, you're getting the money out of the market, but of course, you're doing it in the safest way. For example, the difference between selling at $99 and $70, but still achieving your goals via staking. The second option here is just making more money, okay? So if you stake your tokens, again, in the same example as before, if you decide to still sell at the same level before, in this example, $99, you can just simply make, in this case, 40% more gains. In the case of before, like I showed you up here with these two examples, you can literally make double, right? If you stake for 30% APY for 3 years, you end up with 2x the amount of tokens. So if you end up with 2x the amount of tokens between here, and you still sell at the levels you're hoping for, again, you can make double, right? So rather than making 10 million or 20 million, you can make 20 or 40 million dollars. It's literally nuts when you actually play the math out. But again, it's just not that common to do in crypto, okay? That subscriber I was on a call with recently said to me this. He said, Karen, you never hear people talk about it because everyone's so fixated on this cycle that in the next bear market, in the next bull market, they'll look back and say, 5 years went pretty fast. I wish I just had done that. I wish I had that simple plan in place to just secure gains in the last cycle, not lose that potential life-changing money. And in this cycle, I could have made a lot more money overall. And don't forget, guys, you can also dollar cost average in this period as well. Look, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you have enjoyed and learned something new. And if you have, again, drop a like down there. I want to hear your plans for the next 5 years. If you don't have a plan for the next 5 years, that is okay. Some of us don't really want to set plans that far. I just think the ones that do will win the biggest, basically. Take good care. Talk to you soon. Bye.